I am Gimbo Umar. Well, I look a little different today, but the reasons are not far-fetched. I was just telling my guest, Comrade Debo Adediran, that it's because I am in Abuja, the seat of power, where a lot of things seem to be happening, controlling the lives of Nigerians. I want to thank you so much indeed, Comrade, for joining us here on Front Row Politics. A lot of things have happened, one of which has disturbed a lot of people. I mean, did you see it coming? That the NNPC will increase the pump price of petrol to 1,030 naira when Nigerians have not even had a sigh of relief or breathing, allow Nigerians to breathe, when that fuel price was jerked up from there about 198 naira per liter, and then all of a sudden overnight it hits there about 300 naira per liter, and then it was jerked. Some people have even I have lost count. And then it went to about 800 and something
That's right.
per liter. And now it hit 900 and something per liter. So this quickened increase in prices. Did it come as a surprise for you?
No, it didn't come as a surprise because we know the way of capitalist economy, trying to implement neoliberal policies. So it is not a surprise. And if you listen to the president why he was campaigning, even during campaign, he actually threatened that he was going to remove the subsidy on petroleum products, no matter how much protest Nigerians embark upon. So it is the threat that he has been, carrying out. When he came and said subsidy is gone, in quotes, of course, that statement meant a lot, meaning that it's a bold step to confront Nigerians, whatever they want to do about it. Subsidy is gone, and he is not going to return it anytime soon. And of course, we knew that it was the previous administration that didn't do any budget for subsidy, meaning that the subsidy was actually removed during the last Buhari administration. But then, if we have people-friendly administration, there are ways by which it could have cushioned the effects of the removal, because that was what he said in 2012 when there was uprising about removal of fuel subsidy against Jonathan's administration. He said that the removal should be gradual, and if it had to be removed at all, then whatever proceeds that is accruing from the removal should be applied for those things that will suit the purpose of Nigerian people. Now, he had not implemented any of his advice to Jonathan in those days. I expected that he would slow down the removal of the subsidy. He will adjust whatever is available on the budget, carry out some environment, got some money to cushion the effect of removal, then put the proceeds of removal, because the president didn't confess that they wanted to use the proceeds of the removal to service debts or to pay debts. He said that because some people were actually utilizing the benefit of the subsidy to feather their nests. Importers there were that didn't import petroleum products but claimed subsidy. Some engaged in round tripping and still claim subsidy. Some brought products to Nigeria then without what do you call it now? Offloading it in Nigeria. They didn't offload it in Nigeria. They move it to other neighboring countries. Yet they claim subsidy in Nigeria. That was why it was removed. Now, Nigerian people deserve a comfortable life. But instead of that comfortable life, what we are getting now is a life of hardship, a life of agony, a life of inconveniences at every level. And about the same time, they impose more hardship on us by increasing the cost of energy. So head or
And the cost
tail,
of fuel.
Nigerians are suffering. The
think
cost of fuel is increased, the cost of electricity is increased, the cost of food necessarily had to go up because of a lot of us, I mean, it's a majority of Nigerians are patently afraid, I mean, perpetually afraid of their own security. So the
Mr.
application of
Debo,
the process.
Comrade, what do you think will be the immediate impact of this latest increase in a series of increases that we have seen over the past 6 weeks in Nigeria?
Now, criminality will increase, corruption will increase, food prices will increase. That means there will be hunger. And when people are hungry, they will become angry. And an angry man is a potential madman that he is finding a way to unleash his anger on the society. Then there will be more violent attack here and there. There will be tension in town. People will not be able to move. Even those who manage to produce fruit products, we find it difficult to move it to places where they will be needed. Most of our rural roads are not fixed, and the cost of transportation will have climbed beyond the roof. That means that prices of food products will be increased. Then user fee for all other services in the social sector will also climb beyond the roof. We are going to have more deaths because cost of medical care will be high, cost of medicine is already high and it will be higher, cost of schooling will be high and it will be higher, and so on and so forth. Then
do you believe that this is a
Nigerian,
template? I mean, some people have
so
argued, Comrade, I'm sorry, some people have
yeah,
argued that this is a template of the World Bank and the World Bank and the IMF.
that's right. IMF,
They
yeah.
believe that this is the template that is playing out from directives given to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu by the IMF. Do you believe as such? Is
Well,
this what the IMF wants? Does the IMF want to deplete the population of Nigeria, by extension, the African population?
well, I am not sure that Bola Tinubu is capable of running all of these political economy the way it is. If everybody in government had not agree with him. And there should be checks and balances. So we have to pick everybody together. There's supposed to be, yes, separation of powers, but then there's checks and balances. The National Assembly is supposed to play oversight functions on the executive. And if the implementation of all these neoliberal policies is not in tandem with what each of the legislators, remember that they were elected differently for the same purpose of giving us good governance, which is purposed for to safeguard our security and our welfare. Now, our welfare is what is being put into jeopardy by all of these abnormal increase in goods and services. Then that has also snowballed into putting our security, in abeyance, in jeopardy too. So now, Bola Tinubu might not be able to stop the policy direction of his own political party in the first place, then members of his cabinet in another. But
Why?
then whatever they are doing is like a conspiracy against the people. Remember, during military days, we have kicked against the policies of Bretton Woods institutions, and that what led to SAP. Now, what we are experiencing now is more than the policies of IMF and the World Bank. They have rendered our education impotent. They have rendered our healthcare delivery impotent. They have rendered our welfare and security impotent. Now, the next thing, we are not saying that government should change should change hands, by any other means than election. But then the people should begin to have a rethink of whether or not they should continue to accept all of these policies. If
But
the policies are not,
let me just chip in this question very quickly. Do you think that
yeah.
2027, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will return as the president of Nigeria with this kinds of, somersaulting, tumbling of economic policies?
Well, it depends on the interest of Nigerian voters, because you can't trust their
What is your own
understanding.
interest? What is your own? What do you think? Not for the Nigerian
My
people, because you have a huge
my
followership.
own,
You have a huge
you
followership.
see,
What do you think about it?
For me, it will be difficult for me to campaign for Bola Tinubu or to support his ascension back. I mean, his return to the office by the next election, if there is no policy reversal on all of what he's implementing. Because during the last electioneering, although I didn't campaign for him, but I wasn't opposed to him also. Anytime they wanted to, his traducers wanted to say something that is not true about him, because I used to know him so well. His mother introduced him when he came back from the US. So to the comrades, to those in the civil society then, and that was how we worked together at the level of CD, at the level of CDHR, at the level of Pronaco, at the level of Ladeco. Now, all of the orientation that we had then had changed. What Nadeco was preaching has been manipulated in a way that is affecting the welfare and security of the people. So it is not likely that I have reason to support him, except, and that was why I didn't campaign against him in the last election. The reason being that there is, among the frontline candidates, he is the one that is even closer to the masses based on his antecedents, not his performance. But we also knew that he wasn't an ideological person. We knew that he was a capitalist to the core, going by the kind of businesses that he built and how he ran them, and the kind of lifestyle he has chosen for himself. But then there are some benevolent capitalists who will look back at where the people are coming from and try to ameliorate their debilitating situation. But Bola Tinubu has not done that. And that is the point of disappointment that I've gotten from his government. I wouldn't know what bug, just like Femi Adediran, was it Femi Adediran who said that there seemed to be a bug in the Aso Rock that eats deep into the fabrics of those who go there and change their mind from being pro-people to anti-people. So all these policies are anti-people. And I'm not going to take just Bola Tinubu responsible for all of these anti-people policies. Because even if he wants to implement it, and the vice president say no, and the National Assembly people say no, and even State Assembly.
Nobody is saying no to Mr. President right now.
Nobody is saying no. That is why I said that what is going on.
He's having a very free run. No one is saying no to him. I mean,
exactly.
The National Assembly has his full backing him 100%.
Exactly.
The army is backing Mr. President 100%. The police, just think about anywhere right now. It seems to suggest that Nigerians have been boxed so much to a corner that even if the price of the petrol should go to 2,000 naira per liter, Nigerians will just sit, mope, and do nothing about it.
That is the problem. Nigeria seems to have extra dosage of tolerance, extra dosage, extra reinforcement of shock absorber. Anytime there is shock that is supposed to propel them into taking action against their elected representatives, they just absorb it and go to sleep. And that is the reason why they could ride this roughshod on us. You see, if even the state governors and state assemblies, speak in one voice that they don't want their people to suffer all of this jeopardy. The president will have a second thought. If even those that we elected from other political parties, they are just riding along with the president. And that is why he's finding joy. Look at the protests and bad governance protests, protests against hunger. It was frustrated by the coercive forces of the state. Okay? And a lot of those who could have led the action maybe were not consulted with, but then it means that majority of Nigerians are still ready to tolerate Bola Tinubu. And that is why I cannot say with the fullness of my chest that he might not win the next election. Remember what he said during the campaign, despite all the losses he suffered in southern part of the country. He said that some people wanted us to kowtow to them. We are not going to do it, and we are going to win this election. I didn't know where he got that confidence from, because even then, when I decided that I was going to tolerate him, I still had the fear that he has lost a lot of supporters along the line. But I wouldn't know how he did it. And if Nigerians are still as docile as we are, and they don't countenance all the sovereigns that people have been, they have been going through, Nigerians generally, then anything can still happen during the next election. It's just that if the rest of us, those of us who are dissatisfied with what is going on in this country, put our forces together and push forward, then everybody will act and insist that the government should reverse all these anti-people policies and push forward pro-people policies. I believe they can do it. We know that the political parties don't have ideology. I know that they are just engaging in trial and error and willful, damage to human psyche. And that is what is keeping them on. But then something had to be done to reverse this situation, because it's affecting almost everybody. Most businesses are closing down, and nobody is making economic, progress in the way it should have been made, except those few people.
Debo,
except those few people that have benefited.
Will this give you some sense of reprieve or succor, if you will? Now that the Minister for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokobiri, said that he's encouraging Nigerians to establish their own individuals, organizations should come up and establish their own refineries, and they'll get fuel, they'll get crude to process, just so that we get out of this fuel palaver. Do you see a sense of purpose or succor coming from that explanation that he made? And also, the government is, scaling up, bringing attraction for people to embrace the CNG technology. That's the compressed natural gas, such that we don't over-rely on petrol to move from one point to another. Will that help in any way?
First, of course, it's a grand deception when they say people should go and establish their own refineries. They know that the kind of refinery that is acceptable to the system is highly capital intensive. More than 16 licenses have been procured since a very long time, about 20 years or thereabout. Only very few have been able to establish their refinery. Boa has not been able to complete his own. And several other modular refineries that are even existing cannot produce, in the quantity that will cushion the effect of inadequacies in the petroleum sector. Then, even when the former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo went to Ogoniland, he said that they are going to they are going to license those who embarked on what they call illegal refinery, made it legal, and ensure quality control of their product. And that will also cushion the effect of shortage in supply. They have not done anything about it. till now. So they have devised that means of sucking up people's mind, to the extent that when they say, oh, this is the policy we want to implement, look at policy somersault that we've been experiencing since the days of Muhammadu Buhari. Now, this administration had promised severally that Port Harcourt refinery will start working optimally last December. This is another October end. That is ending. Port Harcourt refinery, all the refinery, none is functioning. Now,
If
the
the government,
Dangote refinery.
since the government, my apologies again. Let's just try to straighten this out. Since the government knew that these refineries were not working, or they are not going to work, they pumped in so much money, up to 25 billion naira from 2016 to date, trying to, do what they call the TAM. That's the turnaround maintenance of this refineries, knowing very well that they were not working. And this was fully on the purview, or rather on the table of the NNPC. Does the NNPCL, now as it is known, will they accept that they are grossly corrupt and that they have hurt Nigerians so much and they deserve to be scrapped? Would you support a move like that on the backs of the increase in the price of petrol in Nigeria today? How do you view this?
Well, since after the exit of Tam David West, we hadn't had any petroleum minister that we could rely upon. Some of them vowed that they are going to change the tide of the times in that corporation. But instead of making things easier, they are making Nigeria to suffer more and more. Now, NNPC has become a cesspit. This cesspit of official corruption in Nigeria. And you know that even the Minister of Petroleum during Jonathan era is still being wanted everywhere in the world now, including Nigeria, in the US and in the UK and several places, where she is even undergoing trial in some of the countries. Her movement is being monitored. She has been inserted with some chips that will not allow her to hide. That was because of monumental corruption, because the former governor of Central Bank exposed a number of things that happened in that ministry. So since then, there hadn't been any time when NNPC did anything that ameliorates the situation of Nigerians as far as petroleum supply is concerned. And that was what they imposed on Dangote. Dangote will have maybe ordinarily sold his products even much cheaper than pre-Tinubu days. But because they wanted a cartel, they wanted that cartel to determine how much suffering, because they needed to pay their masters. If they didn't pay, they will not have something to pocket by themselves. And that is the reason why Dangote had to wait for the National Executive Council to determine what prices is going to sell. Now they have determined it. They promised that they're going to release the pricing on October 1, they didn't. Now we know the truth. We know what is going on. So it is a kind of planned work that increase the petroleum product to this level. Nigerians will absorb the shock and they will continue to pay. So it is not likely that the petroleum product will come down at all. And Nigerians, I don't know what kind of fabric or fibers with which our mind was created. We seem to be docile. We seem to be complacent when we should act. Okay, so I believe that with what is going on, by the time everybody finds it difficult to have 2 square meals in a day, maybe we will impress it upon those representatives we have elected by our own votes, that go to that house, or go to the office and tell them that we no longer, we are not ready to continue to tolerate all of this hard life that they have plunged us into.
You know, I was listening to a conversation today, and someone said that Dangote is risking too much, allowing the federal government to invest in the Dangote refinery. Do you think that that line of discussion is it placed rightly? Because when you look at it, the government-owned refineries were run down over time. They were run down. What moral standing does the government have to invest in Dangote refinery? Do you think that there is a mole, perhaps, trying to throw a spanner in the claws of progress for Dangote?
Actually, that is the case. Dangote has little or no choice, than to allow the government to have what they used to call 20%, equity in Dangote's investment on the refinery. The element in the administration will have wanted 51%, so that they will have the power to run it down the way they have run down all the four refineries that we had before. They prefer to import refined products because that is where they make extra bucks.
From
They
Malta.
prefer.
We're having a little bit of a freeze there. Debo Adediran, uh, he's the founder of Kakol. We're trying to see if this network will clear up, but we've been looking at the increase in the pump price of petrol from thereabouts 850 naira per liter, 890 naira per liter. It depends on where you're buying from, to 1,030 naira, as announced by the Nigerian National Petroleum NNPCL, as it is known today. And that is creating a lot of discomfort in Nigeria. Nigerians have not even breathed from the recent increases, and then now they are being faced with this particular one. We would like to thank you so much indeed, uh, Mr. Debo, Comrade Debo Adediran, for speaking to us here on Frontfield Politics and Control TV. Till we come your way again with another interesting topic. Don't forget, you can always find this on your YouTube channel. You can find more on our website, is www.controltv.com. .ng, as well as on all our social media platforms, on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on TikTok. I am Gimba Omar for now, and we'll see you again.